Hello, and welcome to Purple Knight Games. And Genestealer Cult have just had a boost! Yay! Finally! Hello, this is me 500 here, and Games Workshop have just had a bit of an update to Warhammer 40,000 with the drop-in of both the balanced dataslate and a new points update. Along with that, there's a new season with it being Arks of Oman. So we're going to look at how this has boosted Genestealer Cult. With the coming of the new season in Warhammer 40,000, it's now Arks of Oman, and with that, Secondaries have had an update. Now, Genestealer Cult have only had a slight update, and it's all good really. Bloodswarm is unchanged, and that's always been a strong secondary of Genestealer Cult, and victory points have been slightly increased in the other ones. So Ambush now has 2 victory points across the board, and there's been an increase on 1 per tier on sabotage critical locations. So all in all, very good. A little bit of a boost there with the secondaries. The only downside that Genestealer Cult have in this new season is they've been exempt from spending 1 command point to include a second character, well, a second character of the same type. For some reason in the stratagem it even states in there, except Genesect. I don't know what Genestealer Cult have done to offend Games Workshop in this manner, but there's no spamming of 2 Patriarchs, 2 Kelemorphs, to anything really. Due to new force organisation, you can't even take a couple of patrols to try and get a second character of the same type anyway. So it's a little bit of a downside. I don't know why this has been exempt for Genestealer Cult. I can't see how it can be really spammed or used to, cheat the system anyway. So I have no idea why it's been excluded, but that's the way things are. There's also been updates in the FAQ regarding Brood Brothers. This was always going to happen. When the Astra Militarum Codex dropped, there was always going to be an update to Brood Brothers, and it's generally very sensible. It just lists a series of exemptions, which is mainly the actual regiments such as Cadians, Katachans, Atlan Rough Riders. But the only real surprise there is field ordnance. For some reason, Genestealer Cult cannot take field ordnance, and I'm not quite sure why. There may be a reason in the Astra Militarum Codex. I haven't got the new codex yet. I'll have a look at that when I do finally get it, and there might be a reason there, but I'm not quite sure why they can take Rogal Dawns, Baneblades, and battle tanks, but can't take field ordnance. But I say there might be a good reason for that. And now we move on to the changes in the points, which again have largely been positive. The only increase in points comes to the Atlan Jackals, who are now up to 15 points a model for the basic Jackal, or for the Wolf Quad it's up to 30 points a model. However, there's now been more inclusion of war gear, so power weapons have been included into the Atlan Jackals, and the Wolf Quad now only pays 5 points for a mining laser, and things like the incinerator and heavy stubber are now free. So less of a nerf and more of a sideways movement there. But unfortunately you will not be able to span cheap units of Atlan Jackals anymore. But other changes are very positive. Looking at characters, quite a few of the less used ones have gone down in points. The Abominant, the Clamavus, both gone down 10 points, as well as the Locust and Reductus Saboteur, all down 10 points. More surprisingly, in the HQ, both the Icon Ward and the Primus have gone down as well, now going down 10 points themselves, just making this a lot more competitive. Further changes include the Aberrants, which these were crying out for some sort of buff or change. They're now down to 27 points model from 30 points model. I still think this is quite expensive for what they do, but no, this makes them a bit more competitive. It makes you think a little bit more, can I take Aberrants as an actual competitive unit? War gear has also decreased. Cult icons are down from 20 points to 10 points, which again makes these a lot more competitive to include in your lists. At 20 points, they were very expensive, but you could see why. With Cult being able to reinforce their units in the command phase, it did seem like a very powerful rule. However, with Cult models generally not standing around too long, it didn't always pay off, so dropping these down to 10 points actually makes these worth taking. For Acolyte hybrids, 2 demolition charges and rock saws have also dropped by 5 points to 5 points each. And in addition to these points drops, neophytes now get free war gear as well. Heavy stubbers, grenade launchers, webbers, flamers, they're all free, as well as sergeant upgrades. So neophyte units now, rather than just having your box standard 10 with shotguns or with autoguns, you can now have the heavy stubbers, you can now have special weapons, all for 60 points for a 10-man squad. I'm now regretting just making basic units now that I put together just before Christmas. Not great time on my part, but great. All that free war gear, it just makes those squads that little bit stronger. So, to sum up with this update, Genestealer Cults have not been boosted to being one of the top tiers. No, if anything, it just solidifies them in mid-tier. But this is a help. There's been no real improvements on the data slate. Even the FAQ only really made a little bit of changes regarding Brood Brothers, which was always going to happen when the new Astra Militarum Codex came out. It just shows how much of a solid codex it was. It was well written. So no major changes there. This is not going to make them groundbreaking, it's not going to make them OP or one of the top tiers. It's just a nice update which makes them a little bit stronger and hopefully get them competing better. And with Armour of Contempt going, you know, this should really give them a good little boost. So hopefully it should be a little bit easier for those of us who do play Genestealer Cult going forward. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you want to leave any comments, if I've got anything wrong, or anything you want to just say in the comments, that's great, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.